Hello, fellow risk takers, and welcome to my worst investment ever. Stories of loss to keep you winning. In our community, we know that to win in investing, you must take risk, but to win big, you've got to reduce it. Go to myworstinvestmentever.com and join our Facebook group to connect with our community of guests and fellow listeners. Fellow risk takers, this is your worst podcast host, Andrew Stotz from A Stotz Academy, and I'm here with featured guest Satima Meanlamai, or Tao. Tao, how are you? Are you ready to rock?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your story. Let me introduce you to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Tao is the founder of Vietnam Value Investor Group in Thailand. She works full-time as an architect, but believes long-term stock investing in Vietnam would grow her savings with less effort. Her motto is, when in doubt, just keep investing and learning. I'll take a minute and fill any further tidbits about your life.
Okay, thank you. So I was born and raised in countryside of Thailand, and then I came to Bangkok for studying architect. And during my college years, like 14 years ago, I had opportunity to visit school in Hanoi and Vietnam, and then I got the scholarship to Japan for a short period, like to study. And one thing that surprised me the most is about the contrast of students in both countries. Like the one in Japan were rich and the one in Vietnam were poor. But nevertheless, they both were smart and hardworking, right? And then later, my friend in Vietnam that got scholarship to study in Japan and UK and Denmark. And 10 years later, we met again, and they look more confident and become wealthier. And I think if you have a friends who were already rich and smart, and 10 years later become wealthier, you may not notice much difference. But if you have a friends who were smart, hardworking, but very poor, and then 10 years later they become rich, would be like very remarkable change. Yeah, so that I'm very surprised how my friend like grow up and change that time. And this is the reasons why I interest about the potential of Vietnam. And
so that connected you with Vietnam.
Yes, like
okay. And how did your friend get rich?
Because they are very smart, and then they get a job in Denmark and like in UK, and then they come back, and some of them still be there. But yeah, so I feel that, and I feel that Vietnamese have like fighting character, that they're very tough, something like that.
That's for sure. I went to school at Cal State Long Beach, and we have a huge Vietnamese community all around my university in that area. And Vietnamese people definitely are survivors.
Yes, right. And other reason that I invest in Vietnam, I would give credit to Dr. Nivet Hemwachiraparakorn. Like he's inspired me to invest in Thai stock market last 12 years, and Vietnam stock market about 6 years. Yes. Yeah, and that Dr. Nivet like simplify things, the way of investing, and make it easy for everyone to understand and learn.
And for the international listeners out there, Dr. Niwei is a lovely gentleman who is really a master of value investing and could be considered the Warren Buffett of Thailand, but also has a real kind spirit. And so I think he has inspired a lot of people in Thailand.
Yes, so I very admire him, and that's about my life and how I start invest in Vietnam.
And just to close out, two last things. The first one is, it seems strange to some people that an architect would start to become kind of an expert in investing, value investing, that type of thing. And so I'd like to just understand how that happened. And the second thing is Vietnam Value Investor Group. Tell us why you started it and what you're doing with it.
Okay, so I think when I first start investing is because just I see the bank interest rate is so low, and I just went to one coffee shop and then opened the magazine and see that like one hospitals in Thailand get like 6% dividend yield, and then I just invest, and that time like the hospital stock go a lot, and then I just like wow it's maybe part of luck, not my talent much. So that's why I get started. And for Vietnam value investor group, actually is kind of I don't mean to be that, because mostly when people open page, they have the knowledge about things and they want to share. But my case is I don't know anything, but I have the feeling that I want to learn about Vietnam. Then I wrote article about it, and some people read it. And I remember like the first trip to Vietnam, like 6 years ago, it's kind of fumble. Like I go with my dad, but my dad passport like expired in before.
So he couldn't leave Thailand airport or what?
Yeah, so I go there, and I read on the news that they have Vietnam airport stock, which is cheaper than Thai airport stock like 10 times, and they have like 22 airport. And I see like the Vietnam is like so almost 100 populations, and everybody like the country is so it's long, and like I feel like I have a chance. And then I go there, and I don't know how to invest. I just carry some money on my backpack and go there, and then because it's like fumble, and then I forgot to declare my money, and my broker said I cannot invest because I forgot to declare. And it's like, what? I feel like, what's a country? Why I don't understand anything? So just posting things to 5 friends who interest, and then we can share things. And that's how group start.
That's a great story. And, it's the organic development, like I think everybody likes to learn and watch someone learn and grow with them. So, that's very valuable. And were you able to, the money that you brought in, were you able to invest it, or you had to go out again and come back in, or you had to go declare it somewhere, or were you able to invest it?
So I cannot invest that time for the IPO. I carried like big money and scared that I will get robbed around the country and go back Thailand. And then I have to buy airport stock like 2 times more expensive because I just forgot to declare. And it's like it's a bit funny, but
that's interesting. Yeah, that we always see the documents or whatever on the airplane. If you have more than $10,000, please declare the money.
Yeah,
but here you go. All right, well, now it's time to share your worst investment ever. And since no one goes into their worst investment thinking it will be, tell us a bit about the circumstances leading up to it, then tell us your story.
Okay, so I think it's probably like the most people you interview have the worst investment at the beginning, and they learn, and then they improve, and then success. But my case is different. My best investment so far until now was at the beginning, and my worst is in the middle. Right? So at the beginning, I have less knowledge about financial thing. I knew just PE ratio, dividend yield, and I just invest in the company I like, but I barely look at the detail of the company. Yeah, but the stock I pick like retail, airports, hospitals turn out like 10 banker for some years. Yeah, I was lucky, but that time I just graduated, so I don't have money much, just very small money. So that doesn't change thing. And then when I start to be more aggressive, yeah, and I put all my savings into stock, and then I have like struggling year of that because maybe 5 years later, like Thai economy slowed down, and so my stock like that, and my stock EPS grew slowly compared to the PE ratio about 40, 50 sometimes. So yeah, it's still grow, but slower. And then the market don't give the value like high PE anymore. So, and that time I know that the stock I like is very expensive, but I didn't put any effort to study new stock or new business or learn to invest outside Thailand. So my entire portfolio got stuck. Yes. And then, yeah.
And when you say
Mhm.
stuck, what does that mean? It didn't go up and the market went up, or it went down and you were feeling like you're stuck in it?
It doesn't go up and the market doesn't go up too. Yeah, it's now the PE is slowing down because the earning go up, but nobody is not bullish anymore
Right.
about it anymore. Yeah, and that at that time, and then like Dr. Niven wrote article about Vietnam, and I personally believe in it has potential. So I start investing in Vietnam equity market like 6 years ago, and then I diversified to US and China because like global brands products never lived in Vietnam or Thailand. So yeah, that's the thing. Um, and and now I feel that like my investment life is being on the right track again. That I enjoy learn new thing and I'm satisfied with my performance. And I think I like the quote that Charlie Munger said that like there are various way of value investing, just like fishing. But the first rule of fishing, you have to be where the fish are, and and maybe the more fish outside Thailand. And yeah, that's my story.
That's great.
And
And
my
how would you describe the lessons that you learned from this?
lessons from my experience, right? So my overall portfolio was hurt in at the middle of my investment because I didn't keep learning. Like I kept investing, but not keep learning. And the maybe my big profits at the beginning is because of luck, and I start investing in Thai stock market in good timing, not my talent much. So, but the luck won't be with you long, so that you have to invest in yourself and never stop learning.
So maybe I'll share a couple of things that I took away from your story. The first thing I wrote down was the home country bias. So many people only invest in their home country. And I always say to them, if we were sitting in London and we had $1 million that we could invest anywhere in the world, would we invest it in your home country? Probably not. We would be looking around the world for opportunities. But because we understand our home and we understand how to operate here, we just invest in our home country. So congratulations to you for moving beyond home country bias.
Thank you.
Then the second thing I wrote down was start with luck. It's interesting the number of people that do start with luck and then they bet more and more and more, and then all of a sudden reality comes, right?
Yes.
And your reality wasn't so brutal. You didn't like lose all your money. But the point is that sometimes having luck in the beginning is a curse, because then you think, oh, this is kind of easy. And I think the third thing that I take away is, I like you're saying just keep investing and learning, that you mentioned before. And I think the point is that one of the things I love about finance is that now it's almost 30 years that I've been in the world of finance, and every day I'm still learning. And, I decided to go and do my PhD, and I did that, and I learned so much more. And I just did an analysis of the balance sheets of US banks and how they performed during the crisis of 2008 and this current crisis. And I learned more. And you just think it's endless learning. Now, maybe that's the case in all professions, but truthfully, some professions are pretty standard. Think about an architect as an example. You have to learn some foundational principles, but it's not like something completely different is going to change in the world of engineering or science or architect or something like that. So that's the other part that I just think that in finance, you're constantly having to adjust to the system that you're investing in. So anything that you would add to that?
About adding about that.
And anything, does that make sense to you, or?
Yes, it's very makes sense, and I really admire you for doing many things and keep learning so much. Like, I think it's like I keep learning is easy to say but difficult to do, and I still feel very lazy sometimes to learn new things. Yeah.
So let's challenge ourselves and challenge the listeners out there. You know, what are you learning today? Right behind me is a lot of books. And last night it was 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I woke up and I went and grabbed one of my books called Six Puzzles of Finance. And I started reading it again about some very strange things in the world of finance. And, you know, that was, you know, fantastic. And it's great to be learning. So I think that is an ultimate challenge to the audience. I also have a little connection, by the way, with architects because my great grandfather, his family immigrated from Germany to America in 1839, a long time ago. And then eventually he started an architectural firm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then my grandfather took over that firm and ran it with his brother until they sold the firm. The firm still exists in Pittsburgh. It was started in 1898. My father and myself didn't do architecture, but my grandfather and my great grandfather have about 900 structures in Pennsylvania, particularly Pittsburgh, that they were architects on. So it's amazing. And I have all these drawings around my house of my grandfather did. And I just admire the ability of architects to draw, which I can't draw at all.
Yeah. Nice.
That's my little connection with architecture. So let me ask you, I want you to think about, you know, young people out there who were where you were in the past. And what I want to ask you is based upon what you learned from this story and what you continue to learn, what one action would you recommend our listeners take to avoid suffering the same fate?
I think, yeah, we talk about learning, so I would say that like keeping investing and learning. But if I have to put just one thing, I would say keep learning. But I think one solutions that because I'm not like hardworking person and I feel lazy at time to learn new things. So I feel that like solution that work for me is to mingle with people who love learning. It's like the classic word that say you are the average of 5 people you spend time with. And so to encourage myself to like not to stop learning Vietnam stock, I create my own page now, and I told myself to keep posting things every day. And I have group of investor, retail investor, to do like online presentations, like one person, one stock, and then so that we can share and discuss idea, something like that. And I also organize a seminar and the meeting like every years, like once a year at least, and for investors who interested about Vietnamese stock, so they can catch up and share things. And yeah, right. And I also realized that's not just to meet up with potential people help you go in terms of investing, but in regarding health, I try to mingle myself with my friend who love exercise. Yeah, and maybe I'm the worst in my group in terms of exercise, but you know my close friend like compete like 100-kilometer trails and some like 100-mile trails. So even I'm the worst in the group, but I have done like 10 full marathon, like 42K. So this is better than average people who may not care about
That's
exercise.
much better. So I guess the lesson I'm taking away from that is if you feel lazy at times, if you feel like not learning or not exercising, hang around people who are doing it, who are inspiring, who are motivational, and it will rub off on you. And you don't have to be the best, but you got to just get out there and do it.
Yes, I agree. I do believe that mingling with the right friends is important.
Fantastic. So last question. What's your number one goal for the next 12 months?
So for me now, my goal for next 12 months is to travel to Vietnam as much as I can, because I think I get 3 vaccines, and I think next 12 months they go into opens, and so that I want to understand Vietnam better. And actually I visit Vietnam maybe 30 times already. but I love seeing the dynamic of the cities and how they grow and change every time I visit. Like Peter Lynn said, like visiting store and like testing the product is one of analyst's job. So I am sure that the cost of traveling to Vietnam, I could get it back from the stock, Vietnam stock later. So yeah.
Yeah, you're doing your research and you
Yes.
enjoy it. That's great. Well, listeners, there you have it, another story of loss to keep you winning. Remember to go to myworstinvestmentever.com and join our Facebook group and connect with our community of guests and fellow listeners. As we conclude, Tao, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. And on behalf of A Stotz Academy, I hereby award you alumni status for turning your worst investment ever into your best teaching moment. Do you have any parting words for the audience?
Just keeping investing and learning. That's it.
Great advice, ladies and gentlemen. Keep investing and keep learning. And that's a wrap on another great story to help us create, grow, and protect our wealth. Fellow risk takers, this is your worst podcast host, Andrew Stotz, saying, I'll see you on the upside.